What is going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and welcome to Week 8 recap of the competition prep vlog series. We got a pretty standard week this week, honestly. The thing about bodybuilding is anybody can be 100% on point with their macros or their training one day at a time. But doing so over the course of multiple weeks without fail, that's where this sport becomes challenging. So there's honestly nothing crazy new or exciting to report about this week other than the fact that I've been incredibly consistent with everything. So that could be the theme of this video. However, there were a couple nuances, so I want to kind of dive into that. Let's go ahead and just start going over my weight changes. I hit a new low weight, so I want to kind of dive into that and some of the things I've done with cardio this week. So pulling up my spreadsheet here, you can see that I hit a new low at the end of week 8 of 172.4, which again is ahead of schedule if I'm going off of this tentative goal weight. So 172.4, that pretty much puts me at about a 10-pound total loss from the starting point. There will probably be some days going forward where I'll bump back up to 173, 174, but the 172.4 is a new low, so that is always good to see there. Again, if you look at the trend line here, you can see things are moving just as they should. The macros for this week were 195 grams of fat, so I am under the 200-gram mark for dietary fat now. Proteins 165 grams, total carbs are 15. And from a macro distribution and food standpoint, I've got that broken down here as such. So we've got 2 tablespoons of heavy cream in my tea, 1 Bell's Brownie keto brick. I'm typically having that again after I train. I train at 6:30 in the morning. I typically have that Bell's Brownie at about 9:30 or 10 a.m. And then I've been having this larger meal too around 4 or 5 in the evening. And it has consisted of, this week, 5 eggs, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 15 ounces of ground venison, 2 tablespoons of butter. And then I've been playing around with some fermented foods, kimchi, sauerkraut, pickles, and I honestly can't tell a difference whatsoever. So I've been doing that for about 2 weeks now. And, you know, I am not a hardcore, staunch carnivore by any means. Obviously, I have a keto brick, which is not technically carnivore. I'll have some dairy, just depending on how strict you want to define carnivore. But I threw in some fermented foods to do a couple things. One, to give myself some taste and flavor and texture differences, and 2, to see if that made any noticeable benefit from a digestive and GI standpoint, of which I cannot tell a single benefit. Anytime you change anything with your diet, I recommend giving yourself at least 2 or 3 weeks to let your gut microbiome adjust and see if there's any positive impact. It's been about 2 weeks, so I'll go another week with it, but I have not noticed any benefit from having the added fermented foods. The only change, honestly, I think is a little bit more gas, which is not a benefit. So I don't know that I can really say you got to have your fermented food, because I haven't really been able to tell a benefit whatsoever. And then as far as sodium goes, I put in 3 packets of Element. That's not my total sodium. There's about 500 to 600 milligrams of sodium in the brick, and then there's also the salt that I'm adding to that second meal, which is usually about a tablespoon. So I'm typically getting probably around 5,000 milligrams of sodium every single day at this intake. And again, this intake winds up being 2,475 calories for week 8. So I'm under the 2,500 calorie mark. Again, my maintenance is about 3,000 in a building phase. I'm typically above that, around 3,300, sometimes as aggressive as 3,500. So compared to an aggressive building phase for me of 3,500 calories, I am pretty much down 1,000 calories from what I am doing there. Yet I have not experienced any significant hunger. Yes, I'm a little bit hungry at times. Yes, there are moments where I wish I could get another spoonful of food that I don't have. But honestly, that 1 brick after training and that larger meal in the evening has left me totally satisfied, and I haven't had any issues from a hunger standpoint thus far, which is also very promising. All right, let's talk a little bit about cardio. So Jonathan Shane came in this week, and we talked shop on some business stuff, and he's a runner, and I had him train with me every single day that he was here. And he, like I said, is a runner, so I felt it only fair that since he trained with me, I run with him. So he talked me into doing this 4-mile run Actually, it was about 4.5 or 4.3 miles technically on Monday. And the way we did that run is it was a very technical trail. There's a Lincoln Lake has a loop around it here. And there is rocks everywhere. It's pretty steep grade, somewhat of an elevation. Very, very technical trail. And the way we did that run is we ran a casual 1 mile, and then after that casual 1 mile as a warm-up, we sprinted a half a mile, walked for 2 minutes, sprinted a half a mile, walked for 2 minutes, sprinted a half a mile, walked for 2 minutes, sprinted a half a mile, walked for 2 minutes, and then ran the remaining 1.3 at a leisurely pace. It's called Yasos or something like that. He's the runner, not me. That felt great. I kept up with him. Our pace was pretty obnoxious for as technical a trail as it was. I think we were averaging like a 7-minute pace or 7.5-minute pace, sprinting over rocks and logs and streams the whole time. So felt pretty good about how I performed with that. However, my ankles were incredibly sore the following 2 or 3 days, which leads me to my point here. So that was definitely some added cardio. I think I got like 20,000 steps that day nearly. That is not what I had as scheduled cardio because I continued to do my stairmaster later that week. I got 20 minutes at level 12 on Wednesday of that week, so I still did my cardio there. So this 4-mile run was kind of like a bonus on top of that, which is great, but I wouldn't want to make that my primary form of cardio, especially if there's significant time between the cardio and the weight training, because I feel like in any state, your body has to replenish muscle glycogen to fully optimize for weight training. If you are weight training in the mornings like I am, and then I do cardio significantly, a few hours after that, especially if it's an exhaustive form of cardio, then that also taps into and depletes a little bit of that muscle glycogen. And it takes time for your body to replenish that muscle glycogen before the next day's weight training session. Granted, our body, once fat adapted, our body's ability to preserve muscle glycogen and replenish muscle glycogen is significantly improved, but while eating in a deficit as I am in this prep, it doesn't really benefit me to do 2-a-days and just deplete my glycogen reserves and have a harder time replenishing them because I am eating less before my next day's weight training session. So I'm glad I went for this run. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It kind of gave me the confidence to know that I could just on a whim go sprint 4 miles in the woods if I wanted to or needed to, but I would not make that like my primary form of cardio in the context of a prep because I don't think it's optimal for preserving muscle glycogen, and it's certainly not optimal from maximizing my weight training potential because it's harder to weight train the next 2 or 3 days when my ankles are incredibly sore. So all that to say, this is why I'm a huge fan of the Stairmaster for cardio during a competition prep. You can standardize everything. You can make it very consistent. Level 10 is always level 10. Like there's not going to be any variability as far as like the technicality of the trail, how you're feeling that day. It's just very standardizable. No, that doesn't make sense. It's easy to standardize what you're doing on the Stairmaster, which is what you want to do in a prep, which is why that's going to be my primary form of cardio throughout this prep. But again, mix it up every once in a while, have fun with it. Totally apart from the cardio, just looking at my NEAT activity, it's pretty common to see NEAT activity drop off as you get lower and lower in calories because you have less excessive energy to burn. However, I've been kind of keeping tabs loosely on that. I've got a Garmin watch. It tells me how many steps I get a day. NEAT and steps is not a perfect correlation, obviously, but I've been trying to make sure I get no less than 5,000 steps a day, which is not that much. I just do a lot of computer work, so 5,000 steps a day for me is pretty much a baseline floor, and then I go up from that. Like I said, I got nearly 20,000 steps the other day when I was running. So try and have a pulse on that. Like, again, you don't need to be tracking your NEAT activity because it's kind of subconscious anyways, but try and just be mindful of what you're averaging throughout the day as far as like your daily step count and make sure that you're not consistently getting lower and lower on that as the calories get lower and lower. And that is pretty much all I've got to say about this particular vlog update. The macros are there, the little tweaks with the cardio. I'm probably going to increase the Stairmaster to 2 sessions next week, so I'm going to start doing 2 sessions a week on the Stairmaster. Also, with next week's prep vlog update, I'm going to do some updated posing footage. I can most certainly tell that I've leaned out significantly since the last posing update, so I'll get that for y'all for next go-around. But all this to say with this thing, let the main takeaway be to just simply be consistent. We are 8 weeks in. We are 2 months in at this point, and I have not once deviated from the macros. I have not had anything that's not tracked, not accounted for. I have not missed a single workout session. I have not missed a single cardio session. Everything is on point, and my body is responding as such. If you want to see next level results, you have to do the next level actions, and the next level actions are honestly just simply being consistent with the planned actions. So that is all I got to say with that. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will chat with you next time.